if I were to let's dig deeper. If I were to ask you, since No Limiter's Code is above Jigen, where above
actually,
Jigen is he?
Should we just go over the tier list?
That's a great segue to our tier list.
Yeah.
So I will share my screen. I will put back this. Okay, is it this one? No, okay. Wrong tier list.
Let's do the abilities included one.
Okay.
Make it simple.
Should we do
not that one? Go down. Okay, you have the old one there still for some reason, but
okay, well, whatever. Okay, so where do you want to start, Kamui and or Immortal?
Well, let's start with Jigen. Just look at our 3 Jigens.
So, here is Karma Jigen. Immortal, you see where we have him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, horned Jigen.
Yeah,
pretty much.
You see what tier he's in and who's below him.
Okay, so we pretty much have him above Naruto and Sasuke duo combined. Makes sense because they were able to not only I wouldn't say pressure Jigen, but they were able to do some significant damage.
I mean, frankly, you could argue for Naruto Sasuke over Kamui and Jigen, just flipping those two, because they technically did corner him, but you can also argue Jigen was just caught by surprise there, and he did escape the attack, so hypothetically, if the fight continues, doesn't mean they'll ever win. So you could argue either way for that one.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I would put him where he is for that exact reason. He was caught off guard, and he still won that encounter. So it's like, Naruto Sasuke just can't win. Doesn't matter if he's caught off guard.
This version of Jigen is pretty much like right next to them. That's pretty much like 10 Tails amped Karma Jigen.
Oh boy, so where do we even start?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's get so we'll try to be we've explained this many times, so we'll try to be quicker each time, more succinct as we get used to it. But about the 10 Tails thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, anything I'm about to say is technically theoretical because it's never addressed. But
I
don't think the 10 Tails thing amped his power whatsoever. I think it was purely a way of extending the time base Jigen's body could withstand Ishiki's karma power. Why am I saying that? Number one, not a single character has brought up ever the fact that he absorbed 10 Tails chakra and related it in whatsoever to anything literally whatsoever. It's literally never been brought up. I don't think it's that important. Second, let's actually get into why he would do this. Well, what does Ishiki have? Brimming with absolute unstoppable infinite power. Whatever things the Ishiki and Amuro say. He's got like endless chakra, man. That Karma Seal is not low on Ishiki chakra, and he's very confident in his power to absolutely destroy Naruto and Sasuke. That Karma Seal is not low on chakra. He doesn't need more power. In fact, it has too much. That's why Jigen breaks down. Jigen doesn't need more power. He needs to not break down. Insert 10 Tails chakra, which somehow is just amping base. You could argue it amps base Jigen in a way that like it actually increases physical strength, blah blah blah, but doesn't mean he has to use it that way. I think in theory you could argue Jigen could have amped his strength, but that makes no sense. He doesn't need that. What he needs is endurance, so that's what he's going to use it for.
Yeah,
Naruto can get twice as much chakra. He can, in theory, make every single one of, let's just say he has enough to do 10 Rasengans, hypothetically. Naruto with double chakra could either make 10 double-sized Rasengans, or he can now make 20 Rasengans. Well, Ishiki doesn't need a bigger Rasengans. He needs more of them. So what's he going to do? Make more of them. He's going to increase his endurance. That's all he would funnel it for, because that's all he needs it for. He has karma, which is literally more than enough. Long story short, it's not making Jigen stronger. It's only helping him fight longer. Now, you could argue the fact that he can't fight for long could put him lower in the tier list, blah, blah, blah. But from what we've seen, his endurance really, I think his endurance is kind of unimportant for most of these tier lists because for his placement. Because in all these cases, the people he's below, he just does beat. The people that are above him, it doesn't matter how long he fights. He's not strong enough. So I think long story short, you can ignore the 10 Tails chakra.
Also, the
Yeah.
fact that Jigen was literally just playing around the entire fight, obviously not going all out, not using his true strength. And so he wouldn't be using it to amp his strength when he's not trying in the first place. It would just be so he could fight for longer. Because this is Jigen, who's the terrible vessel who dies in like 3 days or whatever other night. You get the idea. And so it would make sense that it'd be more of like a stamina conditioning thing, especially based on everything we've seen with like anyone else. The fact that literally nobody else even like bothers wanting the Ten Tails chakra to make them stronger or anything like that. The closest you get is a chakra fruit, which is going to improve you. But then like Momoshiki, he's absorbing half a Kurama's chakra, and he's not getting like twice as strong or anything. He's just able to fight for longer, if you want to argue that. He's still like comparative to like...
Momoshiki literally just used it to make pills. Like...
Yeah. Like, and then like, think about it. When Borushiki was fighting Boro and he took the Nine Tails' chakra, what is he doing it for? To make a bigger Rasengan. Yes, that's technically stronger, but like inch for inch, it's probably the same strength as the normal Rasengan, just bigger.
Yeah, he just funneled more chakra with that one attack, but that's not what Jigen's doing. Another thing to consider is you want to compare Ten Tails Jigen versus regular without Ten Tails. As we just said, he was playing around for a while. Why? Because he had the Ten Tails chakra and he had time to afford because of it. If you remove the Ten Tails chakra, he just won't play around. He'll just be serious, which means he'll just fight better on the get-go.
So if anything, the Ten Tails chakra was nerfing him.
Exactly. It's the only reason he didn't kill Naruto and Sasuke, because he played around so much that he's like, oh, I really gotta go now without killing Naruto, but otherwise probably would have killed him. It's actually a nerf.
Yeah. So, Karma Jigen above Narasasu, and we have TBV Boruto above that Jigen, but not above.
You can argue
Jigen. Yeah,
any which way with him, to be honest.
We just haven't seen enough from Boruto yet.
Code.
But then every time I hear the words, well, actually, yeah, he's above Jigen. I mean, Code's above Jigen, so they could be talking about like base Jigen.
We have a long argument for that.
Yeah, but it's just never specified as to what Jigen we're talking about. It just says above Jigen.
Yeah.
But
think about it this way.
I don't really have a problem with that.
I mean, would you agree that, like, stat-wise, regardless of abilities, because Ishiki gets more abilities, would you agree stat-wise that Karma V2 Horned Jigen is probably similar to Ishiki? Ishiki can be a little bit stronger, but they're pretty, like, relative stat-wise.
Are you talking about?
And if you go by...
Actually, yeah.
If you go by feats, Karma Jigen actually looks stronger.
Okay, so keeping that in mind, it wouldn't really make sense for the statement stronger than Jigen, but weaker than Ishiki to make sense if they're referring to the strongest version of Jigen, who is relative to Ishiki.
Yeah.
So if Jigen's a 99 and Ishiki's 100, so what? Like, Code and everyone else is like a 99.5? Like, no, they're gonna go with base Jigen, not Karma V2 Jigen. So it's like 90 to 100, so it's like 95 instead.
Do you think the statement was a little ambiguous in the placing of which Jigen we're talking about?
Well, it is ambiguous, but if you think about it, it should become a little bit more
actually clear. Okay, to be fair,
but
it's ambiguous, but it's also not, because the story is never going to say stronger than base Jigen. That's fan terms. The story would never do that. They would say Jigen. If they want to specify Karma Seal, they could just say Jigen, and that would be fine. But it wouldn't be unreasonable for them to say Jigen using all of Ishiki's power, or using his Karma Seal or something to indicate that.
Because what's the point of this statement? The point of the statement is to say this in the first place, to specify. And so I do think they are specifying by saying Jigen instead of Karma Jigen or whatever they would say.
Or Horned Jigen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't say it that way, but I think they would say Jigen using...
Because I would say Horned Jigen, because that's pretty much like another... I would say... Would you consider Horned Jigen like another level up, like another power up? Or just like another state?
That's just full karma. It's
karma.
like
Yeah.
It's kind of like V2 or VG
Okay.
mode or something like that.
Yeah.
But like it's just
So it should be in reference to Jigen.
80%
Because they're making this statement in the first place. They're not just saying stronger than Jigen. No, they're saying stronger than Jigen, but weaker than Ishiki. I think it should be in reference to Jigen because they're specifying. Like, they're not making it as abundantly clear as they possibly could that it's base Jigen, but they wouldn't specify otherwise because that's the point of this statement in the first place. And they've said it multiple times.
It's also important to note that Jigen had 100% of Ishiki's power extracted, so the karma can use 100% if he ever wants to. So the statement isn't more endurance than Jigen, it's stronger than Jigen. Jigen with the karma 2 is literally Ishiki's power. Like, really, it is Ishiki power. Ishiki has the extra abilities, like, that we didn't see, like, with the cubes, but, like, the power itself is the same. So he's using 100% of the power. That's equal power. So, again, if anything, they shouldn't be relative. The actual strength should be equal. So what it makes sense to say, Coach should be weaker than Ishiki. If they mean he's stronger. Like, if anything, he should be stronger than Ishiki at that one.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest issues with the statements surrounding Code, not saying that some of his statements won't actually be true, but it's just he's in his base form, it said that he can take on, I think, either Naruto and Sasuke, either duo or solo. And then,
well, he thought that he could. That doesn't mean he has to be. I mean, I'll even say this: Jigen seemingly thought Code and Boro could, but it doesn't mean that they have to be able to. It just means they need to be relative enough that it's reasonable.
Yeah. Because Delta thought she could beat Naruto, and Boro thought he was gonna beat Sasuke. Then he lost the kids.
Which, speaking of Delta, how strong is version 2 Delta?